Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're in Lisbon. We've been here for the last 48 hours. It's an absolutely fantastic city. I'm chilling out. It's called the City of Seven Hills. It's got way more than that. It's like being on a travelator in Gladiators, constantly going uphill or downhill. Apart from there's the main section in the middle, so they had a really bad earthquake here a couple of hundred years ago, which flattened everything, so the middle section is almost quite palatial, but we've been around, tried a few different beers and a few different sites. It's been pretty epic. Lisbon is pretty good. Get it on your list. Cheers. Found Musa. When we were on holiday in Albufeira, this was there were an oasis in the desert. We found a couple of bottles of their born in the IPA. Began a few years, it's said by two guys called Nuno and Bruno. They love their beer, but they got a specialist American brewing called Nick Roche, and this is their main base in central Lisbon. It's a really cool bar. It's like staggers out. Everyone's just sat on the steps as it just creeps up in a Barrio Alto. It's a bit of a funky disco going on inside. It's much better outside than it is in. But when you get that feeling, you get Sexuale, which is what we got here. 6.8% porter, €6.30. It smells really coffee and vanilla. I think this is going to be absolutely Boston. Let's give it a go. Cheers. It's got like a Baltic Quarter fizz. There's a lovely bit of vanilla. And then the chocolate malt really kicks in at the end. That's really nice. It's probably a little cold, but it's a really, really nice porter. Going up a few gears. Superb brewery. They've got 11 or so different types of beers on the side. Everything you could possibly want. Stuffed in bottles and cans. But it's really nice to enjoy a porter. They've got an imperial one in a minute, but I'm not entirely sure Vicky Cam will let me get away with that. But Musa here in Bica feels absolutely superb. Cheers.
Volta esta noite para mim, canto teu fado no silêncio. Se quiseres, mando recado à lua que se costuma deitar ao nosso lado.
Hello folks, Outro Lado, which is about a couple of minutes from the cathedral up that way, or a couple of minutes from the main square down the other way, the old big arch. I think Outro Lado stands for other side, or like somewhere else, I think, in English. Quite a cool funky little craft beer bar. It's a bit of bric-a-brac sort of chairs. It's a bit busy. It's a nice sort of like bit of jazz going on in the background, and really good sort of selection of Portuguese beers. They've got about 12 or so lagers, IPAs, all the way through to stouts, and a nice little selection of wine. Vicky says wine's not too bad, which is sort of like 2 thumbs up really. But I've gone for an Aguarela brewery. This is their Tish. 6% hazy IPA. This is €7.60 for 40 centilitres. It smells really nice. It's got like a pineapple-y edging towards strawberry smell to it. Let's give it a go. I know they brew in Lisbon, but I've not been able to find anything else. But they cover half the board here, so they must have a really good relationship with the bar. But cheers. Oh, that's really nice. There's an instant fizz that hits the front of your tongue, which is a little bit acidic, but the actual beer itself is lovely pineapple and strawberry. Yeah, and once you're ready for it, it's a nice syrupy, smooth sort of taste, and the pineapple sort of like keeps on coming in. That initial hit over, then it's really nice and relaxing type of beer. Yeah. Aguarela, never heard of them, but absolutely lovely. Might try a few more on the board before we pop home, but Outro Lado, tucked in behind those two must-sees of Lisbon. Well worth going out your way for. Cheers.
Esta noite para mim, volta esta noite para mim, canto-te fado no silêncio, se quiseres, mando recado ao luar, que se costuma deitar ao nosso lado, para não vir hoje, se tu vieres, anda deitar-te.
We're in a place called Beer Station, Beer Factory. It's part of the LX factory itself. We popped in on the premise that they do a massive wide selection of Portuguese beers, and you might be able to tell from the bottle of Heineken over my shoulder that that's not necessarily true. It's covered in Kilkenny, Sagres, Heineken, Lagunitas, but they do have some Trindade beers, big T there, which promote themselves as the oldest brewery in Portugal, and they've got what looks like a fabulous restaurant and cafe in the Barrio Alto, where we are later. But I've been sipping through this and I actually quite enjoyed it, so we're going to add it in as a review. This is their wheat beer. It's about 5%. You scribbled down some numbers on a bit of paper. I think it's quite expensive. I think it's up around about €9, but it's a lovely sort of like marmalade-y, orangey type smell off the top of it. Beer itself is quite carbonated. It's died down a little bit now, but has a really nice gentle orange rather than a banana-y wheat beer that we traditionally get. And it's bang tasty. So if you do happen to pop in here, LX Factory is pretty funky place to do it. But yeah, you can sort of like put a line through at least half the beers on the board. Give a Trindade a go. Cheers.
Mando recado ao luar, que se costuma deitar ao nosso lado, para não vir hoje, se tu
Recommended pub, top in the Barrio Alto by sometimes curator of the channel, Jackie Cam. We've got Duque. I think it's been one of the original sort of tap rooms, and they've definitely got on. What have they got on today? They've got 7 different types of beer on, loads of stuff in the fridge. It's actually quite a small, narrow thing. T-shirts on ice. Absolutely nothing whatsoever of interest for Vicky Cam. She is not impressed. So this will be a very, very quick pint. It is a white stout called Albino. White stouts always mess with my head a little bit because this smells loads of chocolate, really coffee roast. It smells like there's loads of malt flavour to it, and it looks as pale as a pale ale. So let's give it a try anyway. Cheers. It's 6.2, but that's lovely hidden. And there's loads of coffee and like a slight vanilla that comes through to that, and almost like a little like caramel hint that flows through it. That's very tasty. Somehow in my head it would taste miles better if it was black, but it's a white stout, and that's just how it goes. But as a little pub, it just sort of like sits off a little part of one of the hills up in the top part of the things. Tables outside are pretty popular, but if that is anything to go by, then Duque is definitely worth the recommendation. It's a bit strange on the way through here. They've got a tiny little dwarf that they sort of like dressed up in chains like a prisoner, and they were sort of like dragging him down the hill, which people thought was funny, but I just found it a little condescending, I think. What are we going to do? Anyway, Duque Brewpub, superb. Cheers. We've come just down the road from the hotel that we're staying in the Barrio Alto, or the Upper Town, and this place is called Neighbourhood, which I think we saw on Top Jaw. It's been here since 2019. It's like a laid-back, brunchy coffee place, but it does do a rotation of beers by Dois Corvos, which I think are, by the look of that label, is Two Crows, or Two Ravens. That's a Lisbon-based brewery set up by an American, Scott Stephens, and his partner Susanna Casquet. I think I've got that right. That was a lot of information to try and put in. This is their 6.3% American IPA called Creature. Got British malt, American hops, Portuguese water. Got a slight sort of piney tropical edge. Does smell quite bitter. Let's give it a go. Cheers. It's a very soft beer. It must have come from the water. And it's not as bitter as you expect for an American IPA. That's got a really nice soft finish as well. And the fruit sort of taste is quite complicated. It's like a mash of tropical fruit. I can't quite pick out one in particular. There's like a little zing of mango just in the end, which is quite nice. But yeah, there's a bit of a piney bitterness. And that's for €4.5 for 40 centilitres. Very quaffable. Sits just on the outside street, people chilling out, working away on their laptops. We're going to tuck into some massive burgers in a minute and then head into the town proper. Cheers. Last beer of the trip, we're outside a place called Canil, not too far from Rossi Square. They also brew in Lisbon. They've got so many taps on their blackboard, they've run out of space going up the wall, so it runs up across the ceiling. I think there's 30 plus. Probably a sobriety test of how far you go back to see if you can work another. But they've got an English special bitter on it, an ESB, called The Best, which looks proper intriguing. It does look quite light brown, quite murky, but it does smell malty, so let's give this a go. Cheers. There's loads of malt to that, and then there's like a massive finish, like a whiskey sort of after finish, like a bourbony sort of taste. It's quite unusual, isn't it? Proper English special bitter at the front, malty, sweet, smooth, and out the back a real lingering, like cognac-y type of brandy flavour. That is really nice. €7 for this large sort of pint, or just under probably on a European measure. Glad we made the trip. Train and flight home now, unfortunately, but Lisbon, it's been a blast. Till the next time. Cheers.